So now I want to create a matrix. Let's try and create a matrix called X. Okay, so if I type X equals, then if I just had to type the number 7, then if I pushed enter, MATLAB would say, well, the number 7 is a double precision floating point numbers and assign that value to X. If I had to put it in quotation marks, then that would be a character, in which case capital X would represent a character data type. If I wanted to represent a X as a matrix, then what I do is I use square brackets. So everything inside a square bracket represents a matrix, and whatever I type inside these square brackets will represent the elements inside my matrix. So as a first start, let's just try and make 1, 2, 3. If I push enter, then now X is it's a matrix. So if I type whos, you can see that X represents a 1 by 3 matrix, and the elements inside it are of type double. Because I've put in just numbers here, MATLAB has converted those numbers to double precision floating point numbers. And so now I have a matrix of doubles, and the size is 1 by 3. Let's say now I wanted to make a matrix Y, and I wanted to make it 2 by 3. So I wanted to have a 2 rows and 3 columns. Then I can do that by typing it in row by row. So I don't know if you've noticed, but when I type in the elements, I'm using commas to designate the different columns of the matrix. So this is column 1, then I put in a comma, and that designates column 2, then I put in another column, comma, and then I put in column 3's data. But now if I want to represent rows, I use a semicolon. So the semicolon represents the next row of data. And so if this is 3 columns long, then the next row must also have 3 numbers in it. So let's write 4, 5, 6. Okay, so what's happening is what will happen is when I push enter, MATLAB will read this statement, this text string. It will see the equals, and then it will create a variable y, and then inside that it will say, okay, I see square brackets, so I must create a matrix. And then the semicolons and the commas tell me how big this matrix must be. What is the shape of this matrix? Well, there's 1 comma, there's 2 commas and 1 semicolon, so it must be 2 by 3. So if I push enter, then that's what happens. It gives me a 2 by 3 matrix. And the size is 2 by 3, and it's got numbers inside it that are double precision floating point numbers. So the point I want to make is that if I want to create a matrix, first I use the square brackets, and then I create the shape of that matrix by specifying what numbers, or what the number of commas I put in for each row, and the number of semicolons I put in for the number of rows.